welcome back to another episode of the Caffeine and Sensu Beans podcast. I'm joined by my co-host Chi Ween. I have my coffee in hand. I've watched the movie. I'm ready to review it. Chi Ween, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Had a good sleep, so that's been pretty good. Uh, I did, I might just be like on my boxing hype because I did watch a boxing fight yesterday, the Danny Garcia fight, and
Oh, I didn't watch it. I don't even know who won.
yeah, he lost. Danny Garcia
Oh,
lost, but
damn.
I gotta say that was a pretty bad fight. It was a pretty boring fight.
Oh,
It's
really?
unfortunate. Yeah, it was
They
pretty
weren't
unfortunate.
hyping it up.
I mean, Danny Garcia
Rocked.
he was, I don't know, man. The man, I think he's lost his step a little bit, but it
Yeah,
was, I mean, the other dude, he was pretty good. He looks younger than him, but he also just looks like he's just in his zone right now. Danny Garcia
right.
looked like he was just a punching bag.
Ready to collect a paycheck. That's what you're there
Yeah, that's
for.
kind of what it felt like for
It's
me, but
unfortunate.
yeah, but other than that, uh, just still waiting on my FIFA from GameStop. So
Damn, dude.
that's the other news for me this week. GameStop being
Dude.
being ridiculously good with their shipping.
Nah, that's the thing. Like right now, it's gonna be nuts trying to get anything. It's nuts. I will say this, dude. Okay, if you get FIFA and when you get FIFA and you get it in time to do the Joao Felix SBC,
Mm-hmm.
I would highly consider it. People are saying that dude is ridiculous, and I've gone up against him. He is ridiculous, ridiculous. 5-star skills, 4-star weak foot, monster. So and there's a month. We have a month to do him, so
Yeah,
uh, consider it.
and
But I know you like to
maybe
you
once
craft
maybe
different teams,
yeah, I do craft different teams. I usually like to go the obscure way. I don't really like to go after the big players.
right?
Uh,
Yeah, I know exactly.
yeah,
You're a fan of the Rodrigos and Rafinhas of the FIFA.
of the FIFA world, yes. I mean, that's
Yeah,
how I am. Just in general, though. Like I think that's why I've been stopping like really liking Real Madrid. I think like after
you don't
winning three
like the
titles,
mainstream.
like the three titles in a row, like it's just like, all right, dog, like you've won everything. I like more of an underdog story, and that's
Time to
you're.
part ways.
It's time to part ways. I still like them, but it's not. I'm not like how I once was. Like that's why.
Right, a fan.
I mean, I've been looking more at Arsenal and Milan, but mostly Arsenal. Too bad we're getting our asses kicked today, but
I was just about to say that, dude.
yeah,
What the heck is going on, dude?
dude, your
Mo?
boy, yeah, my boy,
Hey,
the
that
Mo
fool is
Show.
on
That's
another
my guy.
level,
Dude, he's killing it
level
right
though.
now.
He is, man. That dude is a beast, dude. And Son right now, dude. I mean, and Harry Kane. Holy hell, Harry Kane is a monster, bro. That fool is a beast. But Son, dude, that guy doesn't get the credit he deserves. He is so good. I don't know if it's because he's South Korean and he's not like a sexy nationality, like a Brazilian or
Uh huh.
something.
Uh huh.
But he's so raw.
Yeah,
He's
he's
so
so good.
raw. Uh,
I can only
but I
imagine
mean,
what the pressure is like for him. Yes, like you say, he's like it's not a sexy nation in regards to soccer. So like, I'm sure that in South Korea, like he's probably like
he's God.
the greatest thing on earth. And like every day
Yeah,
that you go out there is just like you're representing that. I mean, he handles it
right.
really well though. So I'm
He
like,
does.
I mean, he's super like he seems really humble. That's my guy.
Yep. Yeah, he's a beast, man. I really like him too. But yeah, man.
How are you?
Arsenal, I'm good, doing good. Um, a little tired. I knocked out very early last night. Well, not that early, 9:45 ish, around there, 9:45, 9:55.
Mm-hmm.
Um, woke up, had to get in a few FIFA games. You know how it is. And then, dude, oh, so um, my dad, he got me a remote from his work, right? A remote controller. So I was like, okay, dad, I'll use it. And I got used to it, but it's like a bigger controller than the regular PlayStation one. I ended up getting used to it, but it started malfunctioning.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, dude, this thing is malfunctioning and it's costing me W's. And so he's like, oh, I have another one. He gives me another one. Dude, and that one, I played with it today, worse than the one I was using. My players got like my players kept just running up into the stands. Like they just kept running and I couldn't do anything. Like they kept running, just mind of its own. I was like, dude, I'm done with this. So had to take the L there. I got the message from like EA saying like, oh, you, because I turned off the PlayStation. I couldn't do anything. And I got the message saying like, oh, you whatever, you're gonna lose coins for the next few matches. All right, whatever. And then, I got back on the winning train. So I had to end with the W, and then now we're setting up to get this Christmas tree. We were just talking offline that time of the year. What's the rule, dude? I'm a terrible Christmas shopper.
Yeah.
All right. I'm a terrible Christmas shopper. Do we budget? Is it okay if we give like the $10, $20 gifts?
I think you
know what I'm saying?
I think you gotta like. So I think as you get older, I think that's why I kind of like white elephants, even though people don't really, we don't do that at family stuff. But like, it gives you like a good range. You know what I'm saying? Like, get a $50 gift. I had a friend. I have a friend that like, his family, they do white elephant, but like their minimum is like $150. And I'm like, dog, what is that, dude? Like, what are we doing, dude? But like,
they have a minimum. They don't have a max.
No, they have a minimum because in the past, apparently, they're like somebody has given them like a pair of socks. And they're like, this shit fucking sucks, dude. Okay. I gave you an iPod. Like, why are you giving me socks? So, I think in regard, like looping back to the question though, I don't know if but I think you kind of have to know, who your audience is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna give our grandma like some Beats by Dre headphones. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
right. Some AirPods so she can wear them.
Yeah, like I'm sure she'll be fine with just like, some socks or something like that. Or I think you kind of just have to read the room. But this time of the year is always really interesting, man. There's like I always tell my kids this when I'm working of like, there's this fascination with like trees and stuff, and like it's really crazy to me that like in this society, like we make this a normal like thing to do, and we're literally putting a dead tree in our house, and we decorate the dead tree. Like the tree is dying, and we decorate it and we try to keep it alive, and like there's this like, I don't know. To me, I look at it and I'm like, this is it's an interesting metaphor, like we like to keep things that are
conundrum.
Yeah, it's like to keep stuff that is dying, even though sometimes and I don't think it's by coincidence that it's at the end of the year too, right? Like this is like the dying of the
coming to an end and like it's symbolic. Yeah, I didn't think of that either. And I was telling you off air, we're getting the tree, and most likely it's real, and obviously the risks you run with that. But we used to be artificial tree all the time, dude. And then one day I was like, nah, I think I'm gonna go back to the artificial tree maybe in, I'll say 2 years. 2 years, that's probably my limit. Because like you said, dude, just maintaining that thing starts making a mess. Then it starts dying. Then you got to throw it out. And it's like, I could have saved me this hassle, and I could have kept this tree alive, and leave it there. So, yeah, man. Yeah, but just same old,
Yeah. I mean, people like the feeling, I think, or the normalcy.
The festives.
Yeah, the normalcy that it provides. But to me, I always think about that. It's like it's a dying tree.
Very philosophical.
Yeah, many things are dying, and we like to cover them up with nice decorations.
Exactly. It's almost like that guy or that lady that's dead on the inside. Well, I don't want to go too philosophical because this is a Dragon Ball podcast, but like I was just gonna quickly say, like that guy who has nothing, you know what I'm saying? Like, and is dead on the inside, but he tries to cover it up with a bunch of flashy stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? They say in Spanish, el pobre que solo tuvo dinero. And I'm not, but that shit always stuck with me, and so it's like, you know, it's funny that you bring that up. Um, but anyways, dude, let's get into it. I want to hear your thoughts. I have, I have my
You have your
thoughts,
thoughts?
obviously.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, let's
let's
jump
hear
into
it,
it.
dude.
Wrath
Yeah,
of the
what
Dragon.
Wrath of the Dragon. What did you think? One word. Give me one word for
One
this
word,
movie.
I would say, what's the word I picked? I'm going to say touching.
Okay, that's a good word.
Mm.
Um, okay, I'm gonna go and this is super generic. This is actually a pathetic choice, especially since you just said yours.
I like the build
But
up. I like the build up. I like the
yeah,
build up.
but I just went with awesome. Okay. Um, let me actually. I want to hear your side, and then I'm gonna defend myself. Why
Okay.
I chose such a generic word. I think it's fitting in a way, but also it's not really imaginative. The word I chose, but um, you said touching. Go ahead, dude.
Yeah,
Let me hear it.
touching.
Let me hear everything you have to say about this movie.
Well, I would say, I mean, I'm gonna just stay with this part, the touching piece, because I think to me, this film is probably the most touching film that I've seen so far in regards to Dragon Ball. I think this is the only one that I've seen that has been able to really tap into the emotions of characters. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
specifically going to talk about Trunks because I know that we had covered
Mm-hmm.
Trunks, but I just love the way that they portrayed him. Like
Yep.
there was such a tenderness to his character and almost like this naivety, and it's like uh juxtaposed to Tapion that's kind of cold, kind of guarded.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
in Trunks is really dealing with these emotions that I mean it's touching for me because I think I could really relate to Trunks, in many
That's
ways.
what I
Like
was gonna ask you, but
yeah,
I didn't
because
want to like.
I could really relate
That
to
might be
him.
a risky move by me, but
No,
I'm
I mean
glad
I
you
think
brought it
it's
up.
as somebody. I mean I don't really share with this much in the podcast, but I grew up apart from my brothers and sisters. So I grew up
Mm-hmm.
here by myself in the United States, and many times there were times when you want an older brother or you want
Mm-hmm.
somebody to play with you, or you could show them your new toys or you could show them this, and like while I had you guys were my same age. It's not the same as having like an older brother that is
Mm-hmm.
actually there to like teach you these things. And I think it's so when I look at Trunks and I look at that like that struggle, like I really feel for him, and that's why I say touching because there were many parts in this film where he was asked to make adult decisions, even though he was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I love that. I love the fact that like they gave a character like him so much trust to make such a big decision and like to really show that they can that they know that young people know
Right.
that they know what's up. They know when you're lying and they know when you're really there, and they can really see that. And I think Trunks is like a good emotional like character, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So that's what I'll say in regards to touching.
And I wanted to touch on that a little bit. I think they did a great job. I mean, two characters, in my opinion, really shine in this one, and the other one of them is Trunks,
Hmm.
and the other one is Tapion. And the kind of obviously the main story, Tapion comes back. You have this boy, what's the name, Hoy. He
Hmm.
brings him back, and Harudagon comes with them. But the side story of that whole like dynamic, Tapion obviously lost his brother fighting Harudagon, like defeating him. But and now you have Trunks, who's almost like that little brother to Tapion, and he
Hmm.
wants to be with Tapion all the time. And like you said, Trunks is yearning for an older brother. Then he sees Goten, and Goten has Gohan, and he has his siblings, that he can play with. Where Trunks, he it's not the same, like you said. Like he yearns for that. It almost like you'd see me, and yeah, we've always been close, like we're family, but there are times where we don't see each other. Obviously, you live where you live, and I live where I live, and so you you want that like proximity to someone else, like that older brother that could kind of like guide you, almost protect you also, like
Mm-hmm.
someone you look up to, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought they, you know, two characters that really um shined were Trunks and Tapion. And you know, Trunks, he everyone always liked the older one, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the one from the future. People liked him primarily. You know, yes, he's a badass and he has his moves, he's Super Saiyan, all of that, but because he had that story with Gohan, he had that, like you said, brotherhood with Gohan, that connection.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this Trunks, he was just like, he was always just kind of an empty vessel. He was just there for filler and, you know, take up space. Like he has to be there because, I mean, he exists in the future, so he has to be there. But there's no meat to him. And
Yeah.
in this one, like, you actually see, you really start to root for Trunks. I feel, you know, you're like, okay, I can fuck with Trunks. I like him,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel for him, you know. And there's a story behind him getting the sword. Like, I just thought it was beautiful, and I thought, like, Tapion was a great character that they introduced. You talk about a martyr, like a dude who sacrificed himself. We talked about that last week with a future Gohan,
Mm-hmm.
and Tapion is that as well. And like the pain that he's experienced, the sacrifice that he made, you know, him losing his brother and then
Mm-hmm.
having to fight him, not physically because he's not actually seeing his little brother, but um, figuratively because that lower half of Hirudegarn is his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, and I thought that that music did, like, it was great. Like, it added a little touch of seriousness, like a little touch of sorrow that I think elevated the kind of emotional elements of the movie.
Yeah,
Um,
I like that little tune. I thought every time that it came on, I think it allowed the audience to just be like in the moment there, like because everything stops and it's just a
mhm,
song, you know, and it's just him
exactly.
just playing. So we know something is about to happen or is happening, you know,
Hmm.
and I thought that was really nice. It was really nice, nicely done.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you feel about Tapion? That's what I was gonna ask you. I wanted to
I
ask
like
you.
Tapion a lot. You know,
Yeah.
Tapion's really cool. I thought he looked cool. I thought his like demeanor was pretty cool. I didn't really get to see him fight that much, but I thought his story was really cool. I think the only thing that I thought was funny was like there was the moment where he was talking to Bulma, or Bulma was telling him like, oh, you know, Trunks would really like you to stay over, blah blah blah. That
Uh
scene, the way they were setting it up, I'm like, are they about to hook up right now?
huh.
like, like it was set up in such like a sensual way that I'm like, is this
Yeah.
is this about to go down? Like, where's Vegeta at in
Is he
all
about to
this?
turn into the stepdad? Yeah.
Yeah, uh,
Yeah, dude.
yeah, because that was a little weird. And Bulma, here we go again. You see, Bulma. I'm starting to think that Bulma is only here just to do this. She's like, oh yeah, no, I can make that room for you. I can make that thing
Like
for
it's
you.
nothing.
Like it's nothing.
Right.
So once again, playing that role, and I mean, it's her role, which is cool. I liked her in
Yeah.
this film too. I thought she was cool. She was a sentimental mom. But Tapion, uh, he even though he doesn't say much, I would say like in like he still says a lot without saying
Hmm.
much, and I thought that was really nice. I also like the story. I think the story of who Hoy is and him and how they relate. I liked it. It could have been a story that could have been really convoluted or could have been really confusing, but I thought they broke it down pretty nice. And like
Yeah.
it's almost like a touch of like, I mean, when I in my notes, I'm like, this is a story about like I'm relating this to colonization. Like this is the way I'm relating it to. Like Hoy is, he's out there to just they consider themselves superior, uh,
Right.
and they
They
are
want to
gonna
eradicate
and they want to kill those that are different.
every other race.
Yeah. So when I look at it through that lens, I'm like, yeah, this is like an analogy for that in my eyes. So I look at Tapion as like an indigenous person or like somebody that fought back, which I think is a really dope concept. because sometimes we think that that process, like we just took it, or like we just laid down and let that let folks just roll over us. But there was always resistance, and I thought even in the way Tapion fights back, it's not done in the way that we look at fighting. He does it through the flute. He does it through prayer. He does it through through this other form of fighting back, which to me is very beautiful, and I think adds another element to his character. And he'll throw down if it needs to. Like he'll throw down, he'll bust out the sword. But I thought it was.
He has a passive way of pacifying things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's passive. I don't think it's passive at all. I think it's actually really active. I just don't think that it's. I don't think that it's fighting in the way that we normally see fighting. Because when we think about fighting, it's like well, especially Dragon Ball Z, right? It's like I'm gonna throw this blast.
Physically whooping ass.
Yeah, and Tapion's not fighting back in that way, and to me, it actually. I mean, it's stronger. I mean, at the end of the day, Goku comes and kills him with like a blast, but like if it wouldn't have been for Tapion and the way he was fighting, I think that would have been set up the way it was.
Right. And yeah, I mean, it's good that it's nice that you can relate this to a lot of like your personal life, but then also to your life paradigm, and it holds a deeper meaning. Like the movie itself is like it holds a deeper value, because you can draw these parallels, and it shows like you couldn't do this with some of the other movies. You couldn't do this with, and we always reference 13, like, but 13, I mean, man. and I'm fearful. I mean, I guess we could let the folks know like what movie we're looking at next week, but it's Lord Slug, right? So yeah. I'm fearful that's got Android 13 written all over it. And I'm fearful that that's what's gonna happen. But like in those type of movies, it's just one long fighting scene, and you can't really draw any parallels. But with this one, you can, and you can relate to the movie, and that's what makes the movie enjoyable. Like, you can relate to the characters, you can relate to the struggle, you can relate to the situation, like, and I thought they did a good job. I do wish they would have played a little bit more on like Tapion's younger brother, like just a few more like scenes for him. But I mean, they're trying to keep it under a certain time limit, which is
dreaded 50 minutes.
Yeah, they just know that they can't go over that.
They can't go over that.
And they pushed it to the limit this time, because it'll float around 45, 50. This one's like 50, 51 or something. They were getting close to that 51-minute mark, and they were like, "Oh, cut it off right here, dude."
Yeah.
But a side note, because I don't know if you noticed, I have to tell you this. If you go to Japan and you go to the movies, dude, their culture is so different than ours, right? And so there might be a little bit of a culture shock. I'm not sure. But you go to the movies, the movie theaters, they're nuts, dude. Nuts. And I don't mean to sidetrack too much, but when the credits roll in the movies, they stay to watch the credits because they want to pay their respect to the people who worked on the movie.
That's great.
And like,
that's beautiful. Dude, we don't do that. That's what I was actually going to say that. I'm like, I like the credit song that was being played. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Cool. And, so I just wanted to say that because as I was seeing the credits, they did it a little differently this time. And, I liked how they did it too. But okay, I felt, and I'm a big Goku fan, but I felt like they kind of forced him to get that final kill right there at the end. All right, dude? Like, they wanted to show off that Dragon Fist, and they're like, this is a perfect time to do it. Tapion, move out the way, move. you
Yeah.
know, and it's like, Trunks, move out the way, move, here he comes. And you know, Toriyama was just loving it when he
He's
was,
loving it. He's loving
he was
it. He's loving it. Oh, I'm loving
and
this. I'm loving this right now. The way it's coming
this
out.
finale.
Yeah.
And I just felt it did a bit of a disservice to like the character of Tapion and even Trunks. You know, yes, you could have you know, Goku help and Gohan as well, and Vegeta too. But man, it felt like throughout the whole movie, like this was a Trunks and Tapion type of movie.
Hmm.
Like this was theirs, you
So you'd
know.
have liked to see
Um,
them end it.
I would have liked them to have handled it a little bit differently. You know, like Goku does that Dragon Fist and the dragon wraps around Hirudegarn, and then you could have like Tapion come in and slash him, and
Mm.
that's how it ends. Something like that, right? Where
Something more
or
collaborative.
Trunks does that. Yeah, I mean Trunks cuts his tail off, but it's like, bro, you did the Yajirobe. Granted,
Mm.
uh, that's important. Don't get me wrong, but looking back, people don't say, "Oh, yeah, Jarobi, what a guy." You know, we have to like, we
Yeah,
have to
he saved
actively
us.
remember exactly that he was actually a crucial part. Um, but you know, that's the only thing I do wish. I wish they maybe handled the ending a little differently. It felt like they tried to,
I'm kind of
and
near
maybe
the
it's
end of
fan
that though.
service.
I'm kind of near
You
the
liked
end of
it?
that. I liked it. I liked Goku Super Saiyan 3 coming in there.
You don't
I,
feel it was a little forced? Like we got to get the big ticket character in here.
I think Goku played what he usually does, so I'm not really surprised. You know, he's a. I think what I liked about it too is like the villain, the dragon, was such a hard or complex opponent that
Hmm.
they didn't understand. And again, I'm telling you, it's the fighting. They think that by fighting the way they usually fight, that's gonna work, right? Like the fighting, the
Right.
physically fighting, but it's Tapion that knows this like
Right.
intricate way to how to actually fight it. And I like and that's what I'm saying. I don't really have a big problem with it because everybody played their role. And I don't think like if Tapion was a real person, I don't think Tapion needs the glory to finish
Mm,
him. And I think that's what I like about his characters. I think like I can see that of like I don't need to do the Dragon Fist. That's Goku stuff. He can do that flash and stuff.
mm,
But I know that and if it wouldn't have been for me and like locking
mhm.
him up, he wouldn't have even gotten to that point. And the reality of it
Right.
is that you need a super big character like that to kill this thing because nobody else has even gotten close. Gotenks, I mean, if you see Gotenks is the only one that actually does somewhat damage to him. Um,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
true.
so and I thought it looked cool. I don't think that Super Saiyan 3 overstayed his welcome, which I'm really
Right.
glad that like it wasn't super long. He just came in and did his thing and he's out.
Right.
So
And
and I liked it.
that's the thing. You're right. I mean, I guess to a degree that's true. Like, if anyone but Goku finishes off the dude, then you feel like there was never really a threat because Goku could have handled it anyways. Like,
Yeah.
because he's just so much stronger than everyone else that it's like, well, all right, Gohan, you finished him off. That's cool and all. But now we know if you could finish him off, Goku just had to go Super Saiyan 3. He could have killed him off in 2 seconds. So I guess I understand what you're saying. Like, it almost feels like they they had to bring Goku in. Like he was already in the fight, and it would look strange if Goku's getting his ass whooped, and then here comes little Trunks or Tapion, and he fucks him up. But the way they did it was everyone played a vital role,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a lot like a team, you know. And
Yeah.
so we draw like so look at like a Real Madrid back in the day, you know, you had Cristiano, who, yes, Cristiano would always get all the like the not just the not accolades per se, but like all the adulation, like all the adjuration. He'd get the love, but we know there were some other people there that were key, a la Sergio Ramos, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Keylor Navas, like these super integral parts that had they never been there, Cristiano wouldn't have had the chance
To do
to
those
win the
things.
game or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, or do what he had to do. And in that way, that's kind of, you know, thinking of it now, it makes sense. Like, and it's good in a way because it shows you like not every character has to be the strongest character alive
Mhm.
to get shine, you know, because that gets old really quick. Like Tapion, I'm sure he's a bad motherfucker. I'm sure he's strong as shit, but he, like you said, he had his way of dealing with it, and without that way, Harudagon probably doesn't die, right? Like,
Mhm.
and so, um, it just feels like, man, like they were operating at a different wavelength in this movie, dude. Like
They
the
were.
creators, I just
Mhm.
felt like they this was some of the this was a movie that had some of the most effort I think they put into it. Like not just the animation. I love the animation, you know, of that like that vintage Dragon Ball Z type of animation. But I mean like effort into the story, into the characters. You talked about it last week where, you know, you're a teacher and stories matter, you know, more so than fighting for you. And I'd say for a lot of people, stories matter, you know, because we could watch Android 13 all day long
Mhm.
and not be like, "Yo, this thing is tight," because there's no substance there. But they did a they were in the zone. You know, sometimes you get in that zone and you're going, and I think that's what where they were
That's
at
where
this
they were
time.
at. Yeah, this time. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more effort being put into this one. Which, yeah, I mean, I think it looks great. It looks like it looks really good. The
Yeah.
animation looks really good. I liked it. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's no knocks on the film. I mean, I have a couple of knocks. That
Give them to me.
one of the biggest knocks that I have with this film is our buddy, our friend, our our once hero, our once you know
Savior.
savior, the great Saiyaman.
Oh,
It
dude.
came out once again, and this time with Videl. Double the trouble and like double the just garbage that they
Disappointment.
are.
Yeah.
Dude, why? Like, and I wrote this in my notes. I'm like, dude, who thought this was a good idea? Like, who? I want to talk to that person, dude. Like, who thought turning Gohan into this hero was a good idea? And which leads into my next knock on the film. One is Saiyaman, okay, and Videl.
Okay.
I don't really mind them being together, but I just don't like that character. Those characters are just not. We could have easily taken those scenes out and put Tapion's little brother in there, in my opinion.
Mm,
But the other part of the film that I had a problem with was that like they just like believe this little old red man. Like they just believe him
oh
and
yeah.
like there's no
Boy
sense of
boy.
like yeah, they just like take his word. They like gather the Dragon Balls hella fast for
Even though
him.
Videl is like, and you got into the one I have just now, but even though Videl is like, yeah, this doesn't feel right. They're like, let's bring him into the crib.
Yeah, let's bring him into the crib. Let's bring him into the crib. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it just that to me was just like, why are we trusting this man? And
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of so,
He looked like a little leprechaun, dude.
he did. He
And
did.
when they broke Tapion out of the shit, what was he in that
The little music
jukebox
box. Uh-huh.
music box? Man, I was like, damn, this fool looking lightweight scary when he went in, like he kind of backed up a little bit and he started trying to like release Harudagon from Tapion.
Mm-hmm.
Uh I was like, damn, this fool's looking lightweight scary. Like they did a good job of like making him look like a little malevolent leprechaun. I do agree. Like there was a little too much naivete on the part of like the characters of just believing this guy and like taking him for his word, you know. But hey, I mean, to a degree, I'm okay. I could look past that. The one thing that I kind of struggled with, like accepting, was them getting the Dragon Ball so quickly.
Yeah.
Uh, they went and got the Dragon Balls like within a matter of a day, like an entire day. I'm like, well, dude, if that's all it takes, you could do that like all the time, and you could just like do whatever you want, like just wish anyone you want back, you know. So I feel like they could have maybe handled that a little bit differently as far as like getting the Dragon Balls. Maybe they already had some because they've been actively looking for them, and they just
Mhm.
need like one or two, something like that. But yeah, I
No,
felt like,
they needed all seven.
they,
They
yeah, for
needed all
reals, dude. They
seven.
needed all seven, and they went and they're just like, all right, really quick, let's go fly and go get these bad boys. And they went to like different corners of the world too. That was just a little too rushed, but yeah, that was kind of my only knock. And here's the thing with Gray Saiyaman, dude. All right, so I agree. Disappointment of a character. Yes, Gohan has unfortunately gone down this path, or
He's a
this is the path they've
disgrace.
chosen for him. But here's the thing, okay? They're trying to do something with Gohan that they're not doing with anyone else, and that's having Gohan assimilate to the regular world, right? And
Mhm.
so how could someone that's so ridiculous, who's obviously, even though he looks like a human and he is half human, like he's not really, like there's you can't have that, a man looking like that in high school, and he looks like a grown ass man and just jacked, like, and walking around that, like destroying cars with just stepping on it. And so I think it was their attempt at like having a Gohan come into the regular world, becoming one of us boring humans. And I don't mean like, I'm just kind of joking there, but they're so different. They're cut from a different cloth. They're ridiculous. They're insane. And humans, we got our 9 to 5s, we got our school, we got our routine, and they're
Yeah.
trying to have him assimilate, but still hold on to that insane power that he has by making him this type of hero. Could they pick a better route to do it? Probably. Could they pick a better looking, a better name, first of all?
Yeah, the name is
Definitely.
just horrible.
But I will say this, though. He looks much better with that. I don't know if it's a do rag or a shirt, and
Uh-huh.
instead of the helmet.
Oh,
All right.
the helmet.
Okay.
The helmet. He looks like he's like on a scooter, like a Vespa or what are those? Like he looks like that's what he. That looks like what he has on, dude. When he has a helmet on, like
The
he just
helmet.
looks like, yeah, dog, let me hop on my scooter real quick and get to the crime scene.
Well, I mean, and here's the thing. Like halfway through the film, he's like, "All right, enough with this fucking Saiyan man, dude." And he just goes back to his other gi, and he's like, "Let's go." Uh, he doesn't even care to be the great Saiyan man when he's gonna fight Hirudegan. Um, but I liked some of the shots. Like one shot I liked in particular was when you see half of Hirudegan uh, fighting and like destroying, causing chaos, and Videl and Gohan are fighting him, and then they're going at him. Gohan kind of starts to spot some weaknesses.
Mhm.
Um, and then out of nowhere, Videl's like, "Oh, you got him. It's over." And he's like, "No, it's not." And you start to hear the flute. No, it's not. It's a harmonica, right?
Mhm.
And you see in the distance like Tapion walking away, and kind of it almost looks like he's dissolving.
Yeah.
And even me, I was like, wait, what? Like, I know I've watched this a long time ago, but it was a long time ago. And so I was like, wait, what's going on here? I know Tapion's not the bad guy, because I know Hoy is. Like, he's so obviously the villain, it's embarrassing that the dude couldn't capture that.
Yeah, dude, that's it. Like, come on, dog. He's like, it's so obvious that this man is the
Dude, what
bad guy.
when he does that smirk, when they're like, yeah, let's go get the Dragon Balls, and he does one of these. And I'm like, bro, we're not gonna catch that. I'm like, dog. All right. So
That's funny.
I know, but it made me even ask, like, wait, what the fuck is going on here? Like, why is okay? Was Tapion? Did he lose control? Almost like the Saiyans lose control and they become apes and they start wrecking shit, or did he come and calm the monster Hirudegan down? And I think it's the latter. I think it's a beautiful shot where you see him, like you said. So uh, the juxtaposition to Gohan and Videl physically fighting and him using the harmonica to dissolve Hirudegan is a
Mhm.
beautiful shot. And as he's walking away, and he looks so peaceful,
Mhm.
um, and later we find out that that was his brother. That lower half is his brother.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was like a really nice shot, and I liked how they handled that. And and here's the thing, dude. All right, here's the other thing. How did Hoy become so ridiculous? Like, how was his squad so insane? Okay, because he's got no superpower. Because when that man tries to like take the harmonica from Tapion
Mm-hmm.
or from Trunk or yeah Tapion, he comes out like this whoo, off the roof.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, who's gonna get surprised by this? And then he lands and he goes and he runs towards the harmonica, and I'm like, all right, bro, no, you can't run up on Tapion, not even Trunks, and do this. Like, you're not gonna.
Yeah.
So how did this man
gonna-
become so insane? But maybe
I mean,
that
but I
talks.
think it talks to him just knowing though, like what it takes to win.
Mhm.
He knows that opening that music box is gonna bring out the real like weapon.
Monster, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
it's not
True.
him. It's the weapon that he's looking for. Yeah.
And some people, I guess that's true. Like some people, I don't know if our viewers ever or listeners watch the Pinky and the Brain. Hey, sometimes you're Pinky, and which is the bronze, and sometimes you're the brain.
Mhm.
Sometimes you're brain, and the brain, he's a survivor, right? Like he knows how to use his mind. Not physically gifted, right? He's not gonna overwhelm you,
Yeah.
but he knows how to play his part and just pull the strings. And he's a mastermind. And I guess, yeah, you can make the argument that if you have thousands or however many Hoys, right, that race, I could see how they kind of start to pull the strings.
They're like manipulators. They're like
Exactly.
because they know that they're not stronger than you, so they know how to manipulate.
Right.
I mean, it takes me back to the colonization piece. I mean, you look at colonization. I mean, many of the colonizers, that's what you see is like these folks that are not necessarily like physical specimens. You know what I'm saying? Like you're talking about little European men that know how to manipulate. They know how to play this thing. You know what I'm saying? And like, I mean, when you look at that story, it's like many of the folks that left are folks that didn't cut it in Europe. That's why they came over here. and they became the big dogs here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. So
I would draw another parallel, which would be, and not, me not trying to go down the philosophical or like deep thinker or intellectual type of route, but even like us with animals, like, dude, we wouldn't last 1 second with a lion in front of us. We would shit our pants. All right. But we have the mind, and Hoy would not last 1 second in front of Tapion, but he has a mind. Now you get 1,000 Hoys or however many Hoys, and okay, I can start to see how these fools are making moves. All right. Hoy is that typical dude that you don't know how he succeeds, but he does. And when you find out, it's like, oh, this motherfucker's smart. That's how. He's manipulative. He knows how to. He's playing chess, and everyone else is playing checkers, And my goodness gracious, was he playing with these fools when he was like when he tries to commit suicide, and he knows that that's gonna bring Saiyaman, and then he even throws himself off. I mean, that was risky by the boy Hoy. But he knew Saiyaman was gonna save him. Because the boy Hoy can't, or actually he can fly. So I mean, maybe it wasn't risky, but, yeah, he was making his moves and he was pulling the strings. But like I said, it was a little too obvious that he was a villain, and the characters were out here just being naive.
But it's obvious to us, and not to like Goku and Gohan and all this stuff. Like they're super naive in that way. But what I liked about that scene that you're referencing, the one where he goes in and he flies in from the roof, is the fact that Trunks can see it. I think he can see past the manipulation, and I think that is why, to me, I mean, that's why I work with young people. I mean, I don't want to get too philosophical, but I think that in many ways young people can see through those things. They can see through the manipulations. They can tell you when they're being played, and they'll tell you. It gets to the point. I think that's my problem with Saiyaman is that like the assimilation process takes that part away from you because you're trying to not stick out and you're trying to be like everybody else.
Like a
Trunks in that,
robot. Oh,
yeah, like you're
or not
trying
even.
to. It's not even really necessarily a robot, but like
You're
that,
just trying to fit in.
yeah, like that intuition piece that Trunks is tapping into that Gohan used to have when he was younger
Hmm.
is starting to fade away, and I think that is what you see with Saiyaman as he's older and now he's becoming more, like he can't see that he's being played right in front of himself, like right in front of him, because
Uh-huh.
at the core of this is Gohan, like he's the one that led this little villain to the whole team, right? And it's because Gohan
I see what you're saying.
can't see that intuition piece, but Trunks can, and Trunks is a little kid, and in many ways, the wisdom in there is what really is what saves it. You know what I'm saying? Like he can see that this person isn't a good person, and
Right.
and he's gonna trust his intuition. He's gonna trust his self knowledge, that I think
Mhm.
is really powerful. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a young person that is really making, like I said earlier in the beginning, of like he's making an adult decision that I don't think many adults would make.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. And that's interesting that you point that out. The whole. Uh, I'll draw from personal experience, but I know you played soccer, um, and obviously as you get older, you theoretically the better competition you come up against, and as you climb that kind of competitive ladder, uh, you almost, because you're around like a lot of good players, sometimes you have to actively tell yourself like, okay, don't lose your essence, like don't lose your essence, you got to be you, like go play your game, go do your thing, don't try to just like come here, play it safe, so you don't make a mistake, because you don't want to make a mistake. But what you're doing in that sense is you're also not, like you're not bringing your best self to the field, to the game, because you just want to kind of stick, or not stick out, you want to just what is it, like blend in, right?
Yeah.
And as long as, you know um it's okay if I don't stand out, like if I don't bring my best foot forward, as long as I don't stand out. And you start to kind of, you have to tell yourself like, nah, let me, I need to stay true to myself. I know I can do it. Like I need to believe in myself and I need to go. But it becomes more and more difficult, like as you get better and you start to see these better players, and you're like, shit, now you got to really tell yourself, so it's hard to keep your essence. And I think that's something that obviously like Saiyaman loses, if looking at it through your lens, because he's trying to just blend in now. But how does he do that when he's just so different, right? Where Trunks, because he doesn't have that, like he's still just rolling around with his family and his friends. He's still pure at heart, and he can still see these things, and I think Trunks is the big kind of catalyst to taking down Hirudegarn, where Gohan is the opposite. All right, at least at the beginning. At least at the beginning.
Yeah, he's like
Um,
the main reason it comes out.
right.
Um, yeah. I mean, Gohan, I mean, I don't know, dude. I feel like I hear what you're talking about. I hear you about Saiyaman, and that's their attempt at like, having them to like assimilate. I just like, there's just a part of me that just feels like it's hella cringy, that like it's just not, it's not
It's a
suiting.
terrible, terrible character for sure.
Yeah, like that turn for him was just not it. Like that, it's
I
just
mean,
so. I get it. He can try to assimilate, which is fine. I mean, sure, but it's like the uh, that part about him becoming a hero, like it's just never really like it's never been developed. Like I could give it to him, right? Like because I like Videl even with him as a partner, and like
mhm,
I just wish that they had more to do. Like
Mm,
Like, give us a story, give us a movie about Saiyaman, give us something
right.
like where we get a little bit more in depth about why Gohan wants to assimilate so bad, and like why is he willing
Mm,
to put that part of himself down, or why is he willing to suppress that part of himself that he's, because to me I'm like, when I think about assimilation, there's like an uncomfortable piece there, right? Because many of us have to assimilate to this like society's norms, and like, so when I look at Gohan doesn't necessarily have to do it, he's choosing to do it. And I'm wondering what is leading him to do that. And
well, I'd say on a deeper level, if we were going to get into that, and they did make a movie, I think it would come down to the fact that he's half human, half Saiyan. Uh, and Goku is the Saiyan, and Chi Chi is the human. And they have two different outlooks on life, right? And so Gohan is living in this world where he's trying to juggle both.
mm,
And that's what you kind of see. Like, okay, he yes, he's half human, but is he really human? Because I mean, no human actually can do with the things he does. And yes, he's half Saiyan, but is he really Saiyan? Because like he's never gonna get to Goku or Vegeta's level, and so he's always living in this dichotomy, like where he he wants to fit into both, but he can't fully fit into both. And I think Chi Chi pulls him towards the more human side, the more kind of blend in and be part of society. And then Goku pulls him more, not necessarily deliberately, because Goku doesn't operate on those deep thinking type of wavelengths, but pulls him towards that more animalistic, like Saiyan fighter. You know, Goku couldn't assimilate to the world. I mean, they've shown him try, and like he destroys everything, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Um, and he doesn't care like to be that, because he's learned to live in this world where he cares for the people and he'll protect them, and he feels part of the earth, but he also knows that he is what he is, like, and he couldn't do the 9 to 5 and
hmm,
stay in the freeway. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like
Hmm.
he's a different animal.
Yeah. He's like, we're late. Let
And
me fly there.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Where all of us are like walking, dude, are stuck
Yeah.
in 101 traffic. Uh, but anyways, you know, we're coming up on time.
Right.
Uh, Before I get to the reviews, I want to hear your score. You know, let me hear your score, the a quick why, and how this compares to the other movies we watched.
Ooh, man, I was waiting for a little bit more time to make this decision because I think I'm in between a 6 and a 7.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's higher up there for me.
Mhm.
I mean, the pieces that I didn't like, I really didn't like the Saiyaman and the naivety or like naivety
Uh-huh.
of the characters. I didn't like. Like,
Hmm.
there's another note that I put here that I just remember is like that Bulma lets Tapion put Trunks to sleep, and I'm like, you just met this man. Like,
That's true.
you're gonna trust this man with your child to put him to sleep? No. I'm like, no, dude, that's not that ain't it.
That's very not realistic. Sure.
Yeah, so I mean, and it's a cartoon, obviously, but if my point of reference is History of Trunks is my 7, I think almost everything in that film had a reason and had like a good like line. I think this one,
Hmm.
for the most part, does that, but there are a couple areas where it doesn't do that. So just for that, I think I'm gonna give it a 6. It's better.
Okay.
It's
That's
better than
six.
the other ones. Uh, it does a lot of things really well, but I think those pieces for me bring it down to 6. Me
Okay.
personally.
Before I get into mine, uh, are you fearful that it's just downhill from here in
Yeah, I mean, I
terms of
said
the
that. I
movies?
said that a couple of episodes ago. Like I think this is it. I think this is the peak, y'all. This is the peak of what we're about to see because we got the
Yep.
Lord Slugs and the Tree of Might and the
And
coolers, and so we'll
the
see
what's the other one with the god of destruction?
which one is
Yeah,
it.
it's
Beerus
a
one?
yeah, Beerus one,
Uh,
dude. I mean, I think you'll be disappointed with that one, but hey, I may be pleasantly surprised. But yeah, man, I'm trying to think of the movies, and right now, just the ones that are popping up in my head. I think we got BoJack. I think that one may be good. From what I remember, it's been a long time since I've seen it. But other than that, yeah, I think it's I think it's all downhill with no break from here, dude. With no breaks.
You gotta just enjoy the ride, man. You gotta
We're just
buckle
going
in.
down, bro.
Yeah,
It's
just
just
to
yeah,
buckle
it's
in. We've hit the peak of the roller coaster, and now we're
yeah,
going
and
down.
here we go.
Put our
And this is a
hands up.
steep drop. But yeah, I'm gonna man, I haven't done this. I'm gonna go a 7 though. I think
Yeah.
yes, there were pieces where I I was like, okay, doesn't make sense. We talked about Hoy, we talked about kind of the Dragon Balls, and yeah, there were pieces, but they didn't outweigh um yeah, I mean it didn't outweigh what I thought was good. And I love the storyline, I love the character introductions. um I love Tapion's character. I love Trunks' character. I love the dynamic between the two, the kind of brotherly relationship, and then also that kind of played on, Tapion saw Trunks. He saw his little brother Minosha in Trunks, and
Hmm.
I like that. And like you said, Harudagon was an animal they hadn't seen before. It reminds me a lot of Janemba. It wasn't just your typical like very strong, very powerful Android 13. They're literally punching him, and he's not moving. Like that's the level of thought that went into that villain, Fusion 13. Right.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'll go 7. I'll go 7, and you know, want to see if we read off some of these reviews.
Yeah.
I wonder. I don't know. I don't know what you think the general consensus is around this movie, but I think you might have an idea,
Hmm.
and that is that this movie was very greatly received,
Yeah.
right? It was very difficult to find. Uh, I mean, I always find one in Spanish, dude. But okay, I'm going to read off this one because it kind of resonates with what we said. Wait, no, 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 no. That's not the one. There's one in Spanish. I'm going to translate it. It says, with a potent and imaginative story and great animation, the film is efficient at maintaining the spirit of the series. And yes, like a lot of these reviews, and I'm looking at them right here, a lot of these have to do with, the story and Tapion, this new character. A lot of them have to do with the story. Another one here, it says a 5 out of 5 stars. It says the best movie out of the 13. I don't know if it's 13 movies, but I don't know if they said the best movie compared to Android 13. But
Yeah.
nah, it says the best movie out of the 13 and the best way to end them all. The villain is perfect. Oh, I guess this was supposed to be like, oh, wait a minute. That makes sense. I think this was maybe supposed to be after the Majin Buu series, and this was going to be like the end of the series or end of the movies, maybe. I'm just thinking about the timeline. But yeah, this Randy over here says best movie out of all. A great way to end it. The villain is just perfect. The movie lives up to its potential of pleasing its fans. Yeah, I mean, just it's like there's not. Oh my God. Okay, this one gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Uh, I give it a 5 out of 5 stars just because there's no Piccolo in this movie. Oh
Oh
my God.
Lord.
Uh,
Lord.
Tapion is one of the coolest characters, and it's nice, how he gives his sword to Trunks.
Yeah.
I love Tapion. Yeah, I love how Tapion, he says here he plays Tapion I'll say, plays a really cool tune. Great story, great action, great DBZ movie. And so, you know, all of these are good, dude. There's really no bad one, no bad review to read.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I think it deservedly so. You know what I'm saying? It's a good movie. I think it's a this is peak peak
Yep.
peak Dragon Ball right here. This is
Yeah.
I don't think it gets any more imaginative, any more better storytelling than this. I think animations as well, like they're in their bag. So I'm not really surprised that there isn't any bad negative reviews. It was, if anything, it just makes me more upset that they don't put more effort into Tapion like in the games. Because now I'm thinking about Tapion in Legends, and it's like
He's just
that man's
ass, right?
irrelevant, dude. He's
I
relevant,
know,
but
man.
my guy's a beast.
He's a great freaking character, dude. I mean, man, if they brought him into the series, wow, like we could get rid of Piccolo. I'm sorry, I loved Piccolo. That was my guy. But let's be honest, he's been reduced to nothing. All
Yeah,
right. And so we, but you know what? I don't know. Maybe Tapion is a movie character and his allure is in the movie because it just, if he was a part of the series, maybe he would become another Piccolo and he'd get ran. I wouldn't want that for
oh Lord,
Tapion,
I wouldn't be
you know?
surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised to do
Um,
that.
yep. All right. Well, yeah, man. Should we wrap it up? We're coming up
Yeah,
on the
let's do it.
time. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. We enjoyed this movie, as you can tell. If you watched it, let us know. Let us know what you thought of it. Um, did you like it? Did you not like it? Why did you not like it, or why did you like it? Um, are there any movies you recommend we watch? Chewin, which one are we watching? I think I said it already, right?
Lord, we're
It's
watching Lord Slug next week, so watch it with us if you wanna, if you want to feel the experience that we're about to go to. Try to watch it, and we'll see how it goes.
I gotta be honest, dude. I'm going in expectation level 0 right now, cause I'm hoping that this thing is just somewhat good. Uh, but we'll see how that goes. I will say this though. I am looking forward to that Dragon Ball movie. I want to see what
One of
that's
those
about.
one of those is really good. One of the Dragon Ball movies is really good. I heard.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's not all downhill, but
Yeah.
one of them
But for the most
supposedly is
part, it
really good.
probably is.
For the most part, I think it's going to be downhill from here, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see where it
Yeah.
takes us. Might be really
Downhill.
surprised. Like what happened with Bio Broly. We thought that was going to be the worst
That's
one,
true.
and
That's true.
for the most part, we liked it.
And pleasant. Yeah, that's true. Well, all right. Yeah, we'll leave our Twitter handles down in the description. Please follow us on all the podcast platforms. You can catch us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the podcast platforms. Um, and yeah, we'll be back next week with the review. Chiwumi maybe has a word or two to say. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah. So if you're listening to Apple, make sure that you leave us a review. You know, just let us. So we can show up in the algorithm more. We're also, on a side note, thank you all very much for listening. We are reaching our 1,000 listen, which is really cool that
That's
we've
a
been
great
able to,
landmark.
that we've been, we started doing this, a couple of months ago, and just to see and just to, see the numbers and that we're about to get to 1,000 plays. I mean, it's big for us because we never have done anything like this, and the
Right.
fact that we've been able to get to 1,000, this next episode should take us there. And thank you all very much. We appreciate you. So much.
Listen to this episode multiple times so we can get there. Nah, I'm just playing.
Yeah. I
But
mean, there's
yeah,
some folks that
nah.
listen to us like in Australia or other
Well,
parts
thank
of the
you,
world. So
Australia.
thank you, Australia, if you're one of the listeners.
Yep. All right. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and sign off. Thank you again for listening. Catch us next week. And yeah, until then, stay safe.